Hey everybody, what's going on? So today I thought we'll just do like a kind of quick video, sort of going over uh, how I skate in cold weather conditions, some of the things I do to prepare myself, and yeah, just things like that. I think it'll be like, 4 or 5, um, simple things you can do that will definitely benefit you when it comes to skating outside in the cold. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. So the first thing I want to talk about is clothing. A lot of people generally assume, including myself when I first started skating when it was cold out, is that you want to layer up. You want, um, to be as warm as possible. And honestly, it really only hurts you. I used to wear long johns a lot when I would go skate when it was pretty cold out, and I found that it's very restrictive, and it definitely makes skating a little bit more difficult. Plus, you tend to sweat really quickly. So the best advice I could give is do a couple top layers, maybe like a handkerchief to keep the wind from going down your jacket, or you can pull it up if your face gets a little cold. But after about 10 minutes or so, you'll probably lose the jacket, and if you're wearing like something like long johns, unless you have a place to change out of them, you're going to be stuck, and your legs are going to feel restricted, and you're just not going to have a good time. So I like wearing jeans. I find that the wind doesn't cut through them as easy. Find a good stretchy pair that's not, restricting. And yeah, wear a coat you could take off, a flannel you could take off, a hat you could take off. Stuff like that will make it a lot easier, because I always tell myself it's better to start the session a little cold, because you're gonna start sweating, and once you start sweating in the cold, the minute you stop skating, you're gonna have a bad time. So the third thing I would recommend is, obviously, before you even start to skate, stretch a little bit. Especially in colder weather, your muscles tend to be a little bit more tense and tight. So take the time out to, stretch a little bit. I wouldn't say you'd have to spend 20-30 minutes on stretching, but give it a solid 5 minutes of just, doing some, leg stretches, maybe, I don't know, high kicks, or if you want to just, sit on the ground and do some toe touches, things like that. I really like this for my, put my heel on something, or my toes on something, and kind of put a little weight on it. It feels like it stretches out my my shin muscle a little bit, so I don't get the shin splints and things like that. But yeah, I think stretching is definitely just as important as warming up. It's part of the warm up, especially after 30. So something else just to put in consideration, and give it a try if you're starting to skate in cold weather. It's not impossible, and I actually sometimes enjoy it. Sometimes it's a lot nicer than skating when you're just covered in sweat after 10 minutes. So you got to look at the positive sometimes. Number 4, I definitely think would be the broom. When the weather gets cold, especially in the Northeast here, you're going to have leaves at the spot. Some of those little, the helicopter things. There's lots of stuff that you'll find, you'll show up to the spot one day and be like, holy cow, and a lot of people will use their shoe to kind of kick stuff out of the way, but nothing beats a good old-fashioned broom. If you have a car, you can throw it in the trunk or whatever. They even make smaller ones, or you could just buy a regular broom and cut it down so it fits in your backpack. I think it's one of the best tools you could have for a skate session, because there's nothing worse than going someplace and finding it just full of rocks, pebbles, leaves, things like that, and messing up your shoes trying to clean it out. And even when you do it with your shoe, it's never as good. So I think a broom is just a really solid thing to have when you're starting to get into the fall months and skating in the cold. You're going to find the leaves and the rocks and all that other good stuff that's at the spot. So bring a broom. All right, and for number 5, last but not least, take it slow. When you're starting just to get warmed up, the worst thing that can happen is when you take a slam when it's real cold. So I obviously would just recommend riding around for a couple of minutes, maybe a couple small ollies, carve around, get the feel for your board. I often include those in the beginnings of my videos, just a couple ollies, 180s, that sort of thing. And it's just, you want to just feel your board out. Never throw your board down and just, you know, go for a 3-flip or go for a, you know, trick on a bench or something. You know, you always want to be warmed up, especially after 30. So yeah, those are 5 things that you should do if you're going to start skating in the cold. Those, it's just my opinion and just some kind of like tips that I've kind of discovered over the years. But with that being said, let's get a little skating in. All right, everyone, thanks for stopping in, checking out today's video. If you can't tell, it got very warm. Not actually outside, but, you know, just from skating. So like I was saying, you know, try to dress so you'll be cold for the first 10-15 minutes. You almost want to start chilly, and just take it slow. Stretch, you know, even do some jumping jacks a little bit, get the blood flowing in your feet. Sometimes that helps if it's really, really cold. And avoid things like long johns for the bottom half of your body. Sometimes for the upper, if you don't want to have like a bulky coat on, it's a good idea for the upper. But again, when you start sweating and you stop skating, and you start getting cold. So that being said, I tried that 50-50 kickflip for close to a half hour. I mean, this board is like a love-hate because locking into 50-50s is so easy. I can just like sit on them and adjust my feet almost for the kickflip. But unless my foot is like over here when I land into the kickflip, or if I can move it over, the board is just so wide that when I flick out, it only like half flips. Like I was popping them like super high and like just catching them half flip. So I was trying to flip them faster, but that just didn't work either. And then I pre-mode and got like the worst shinner on the one. So I was just like, I need a trick to close the video out, so I'll do the 50-50 backside 180 out. But that's kind of why I don't really go for like super hard tricks all the time, because some of the videos might end up just being 2 or 3 tricks, because I'm trying to do these all in a day. So yeah, like I said, it's generally just, you know, what's working that day. I really shouldn't have been trying to kickflip out of a 50-50 with an 875. It felt good getting in, but trying to flick it out, I don't know. And the shoes are very grippy too. I feel like if I had on those Leo laced, it would have worked out pretty easily because they have a good flick on them. The skate highs have a really rounded, grippy toe, and I find it makes like stuff like kick flips and backside flips, anything where you're flicking like straight off the nose, like it tends to just like be a little harder for me. I almost have to wear down a good chunk of the toe before it even starts to feel like proper. But that's just my opinion. I see lots of people skate these shoes and do awesome kick flips. So that being said, thanks for stopping in. I hope some of those tips helped you guys out. Leave a like, comment, subscribe down below, and yeah, see you guys next week.